how amendable is Ergo? For example, can miners vote on something like increasing transaction fees?
Yeah.
So what do you think, Dan? What do you think, Dan? You're not Dan, you're Joe. What do you think,
Yeah,
Joe?
miners can vote to increase the transaction fees. Miners can vote to alter the storage rent within a parameter. They can adjust block time. They can propose and vote on macroeconomic emission changes. They have a tremendous amount of power in the Ergo network. Now, the beauty of that is if they abuse their power, they destroy their value. You can't be in a power or a position where you, let's say, gain a part of your profitability and you have stake in a system of users and abuse the users. They'll leave, right? So there is a certain incentive for long-term miners to create the right conditions that's balanced in terms of short-term profitability, which is important. Mining is a business, right? You have real costs, you have electricity, you have maintenance. So, that needs to be kind of respected in looking at how the economics of proof of work are applied. But then you also have the potential to grow value on the chain. And because miners have the ability to, in the future, take custody of some of that value on top of the actual blockchain, it gives them an incentive, I would hope, to create the right conditions to not say, oh, I'm just going to, raise the transaction fees to where everybody leaves. That's dumb. That destroys value. So there's a certain balance of, let's say, incentives that need to be addressed. And, that is something that is for miners to discuss. I really do hope that we get kind of governance bodies and people that take lead in the mining community that start to get consensus and put out their own vision of, what does that balance look like for Ergo? And hopefully they can communicate that message and develop a large enough community consensus to where that 90% threshold is doable. Can you imagine what the United States would look like if we had a 90% threshold to get anything done? Nothing would get done, right? But a part of that 90% is it prevents forking, right? If you have above that 90% threshold and the majority of your hash rate is moving in one direction, it doesn't necessarily make economic sense for the minority to go and start their own project. But the reality is, in proof of work, they could do that today. They could do that tomorrow. There were some people that are like, oh, this is censorship. The chain needs to follow a certain set of rules. And it's like, well, to some degree, isn't that, being the kingmaker yourself, so to speak? Governance is a messy thing. It is what it is. I hope we get some mature group of actors to help lead the ecosystem. And me, I don't have a vote. I'm not mining Ergo at the moment. So I don't have a vote. I'll back whatever the majority is because I work for the miners. I work for the community.